We are back again with our next episode of Swami Shivananda Vani for the Seekers of God. That is, the spiritual talks of Mahapurush Maharaj Swami Shivananji. We all know that he was a direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. तो आज हम क्या करेंगे वो हम एक बार देख लेते हैं क्या क्या टॉपिक्स डिस्कस होंगी आज. फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट, Hindus had lost faith in themselves. Sri Ramakrishna's role in restoring it. He is at all times the kalpataru. Who? This is Sri Ramakrishna. The Kalpataru Day incident. Gradual development is normal, yet divine grace is unconditional. The infinite grace of Sri Ramakrishna. So let's see where we are going to start with. Again, the place is Belur Math and time is January 1st, 1924. We all know on 1st January, Thakur Sri Ramakrishna Dev had become a Kalpataru or the wish-fulfilling tree. तो जितने भी वहाँ उस टाइम लोग थे आसपास, सभी की इच्छाएं उन्होंने पूरी की थी, पर जितनी भी इच्छाएं थी वो सब आध्यात्मिक इच्छाएं वही उन्होंने पूरी की थी. किसी की जागतिक इच्छाएं पूरी नहीं की. तो आइए पढ़ते हैं इसको. It was the first day of the year and they were observing the Kalpataru Day at Kakorgachi Yogodyan. At the mutt also, there was arrangement for special worship of Master and offering to him. From early morning, devotees were streaming in, and more so as it was a public holiday. They assembled in Mahapurushji's room. After saluting the Master, he too talked with them on various subjects with evident delight. A devotee saluted him and said, "Happy New Year, Maharaj." Mahapurushji smiled and replied, "Happy English New Year, for our own New Year is on the 1st of Vaishak. Today is the New Year according to the English calendar. See how our minds work under the influence of English education for 150 years? We are almost losing our distinction, our national traits. This is not just because we are a conquered nation, that we have been for a quite long time, but the Mohammedans could not destroy our national life even after a long rule of 7 or 8 centuries. But such is the magic power of the Western civilization, and such are the skillful ways adopted by the Western people in instilling their ideas into us that we cannot even perceive that they are out here to uproot our culture and religious beliefs. That is how this great nation has become so westernized in such a short time. And that is in every respect. Gradually, our way of thinking has also changed so radically. The worst evil is that by and large the Hindu race has gradually lost faith in its Vedic religion. This we all know he's talking in the year 1924. The idea that prevails among the common people is that all that is contained in our Sanatan Dharma, that is eternal religion, is false and imaginary, and that whatever the standard bearer of Christianity say is the gospel truth. यही बिलीफ था उस समय. आज भी बहुत लोग इसी में विश्वास करते हैं. But things are changing because of the advent of Sri Ramakrishna. They were out to convert the whole Hindu race to Christianity, but God willing, otherwise. Had this eternal Vedic religion been wiped out, then spirituality itself would have been banished from this world. That is why the Lord Himself incarnated as Sri Ramakrishna to protect this eternal religion. He started his spiritual practice with that very worship of God in the image which the Christians and others in our country who had been influenced by the Western ideas derided as idolatry. His practice of the spiritual disciplines of all the faiths and his success in all of them had struck the whole world with wonder. As a result, even the great savants of the West how humbly acknowledged the greatness and grandeur of Vedic religion of India. Consequently, the attention of even blindly imitative Indians have been drawn to the life of the Master and with that to their own religion. The atmosphere in this country began to change from the very day of the advent of Sri Ramakrishna. Indians are gradually gaining faith in themselves again, which they had previously lost. As a result of the wonderful work of the Master in the spiritual field, the soul power of India has been reawakened. You will find that India will make wonderful progress in every direction. Swamiji, that is Swami Vivekananda, declared that religion forms the backbone of India. That backbone had been broken, as it were, and consequently, India became weak in every respect and lagged behind in others. The Master's advent has set right that backbone again and reinvigorated it. Now, India will make the world wonder at her achievements not only in religion but also in all other spheres. The Master has aroused the power of the Spirit that moves the whole universe. The world will, in the course of time, realize that what he has really done. Ah, what good fortune it was for us to have been in close association with God Himself, to have seen, touched, and served the Master. His touch made our lives blessed. Those also will be blessed who have not seen Him, but who have accepted His message and are molding their lives accordingly, who have accepted Him as their life's ideal. He is the epitome of all spiritual endeavors. He is the Lord of the three worlds. His grace knows no limit. He is the fulfiller of all desires. He bestows all things according to the sincere desire of His devotees, be it virtue, prosperity, enjoyment of liberation. How can I speak of Him fully? The devotee. On this day, that is the Kalpataru Divas, He assumed the role of the wish-fulfilling tree and showered His grace on quite a number of people and His devotees. Mahapurushji. Why should He have been a Kalpataru on this day alone? Why should it be so? Truth to tell, He is a Kalpataru forever. His only work is to shower His grace on all creatures. We have seen it with our own eyes, how He blessed innumerable people in so many ways every day. Yes, it is true that on that particular day in the Kashipur garden house, He blessed quite a number of devotees all at a time. In that sense, this day has a special significance, for it was on this day that the devotees felt palpably his infinite grace through that one incident. The devotee, Maharaj, were you present there on that day? Mahapurushji, no, I was not. As a matter of fact, none of the monastic disciples of the Master was present there at that time. The Master was then seriously ill. Our hearts were then full of spirit of renunciation. He was then passing through such a critical period of illness that we kept vigil by turns all the 24 hours of the day. The lay devotees would come during the daytime according to their convenience, and they would arrange for the medicine, diet, and all other necessary expenditures. But we shouldered the entire responsibility of nursing him. And along with that proceeded our intense spiritual practice. The Master also encouraged us very much in this. He would call us individually and guide us on the right path of spiritual disciplines. He kept himself informed about the progress made in our meditation and the kind of vision each of us was having. At night, Swamiji would sit with us in meditation round a blazing fire under the sky, and sometimes we would also sing devotional songs. The whole night passed thus in divine ecstasy while serving the Master. Since we had to keep awake at night, most of us used to have a nap after our lunch. On that day, too, after lunch, we were having a nap in the small room adjacent to the hall below when, for the first time at Kashipur, the Master came down in the afternoon for a stroll in the garden. It was a holiday, and many devotees were present in the garden. Seeing the Master come downstairs, they followed him joyously. He was walking slowly towards the gate of the garden when Girish Babu, after prostrating himself at his feet, began to hymn his glory with folded hands. These words, repeated with sincere devotion and faith, sent the Master into a deep samadhi even while he was standing. Finding him in such a divine mood, the devotees started exclaiming in great joy, "Victory to Sri Ramakrishna! Victory to Sri Ramakrishna! Jai Ho Sri Ramakrishna ki!" and saluted him again and again. Gradually, the Master's mind regained outer consciousness to some extent. He turned his benign eyes on them and said, "What else shall I say? May you all have your spiritual consciousness awakened." No sooner had he uttered these words than the devotees felt an upsurge of ineffable bliss within themselves. They exclaimed repeatedly, "Glory to Sri Ramakrishna! Glory to Sri Ramakrishna!" and saluted him in doing so. He too, still in that state of divine absorption, touched almost all of them one by one, saying, "May you be enlightened." As a result of that divine touch, all the devotees felt wonderful spiritual stirrings inside them. Some of them were lost in meditation, some danced with joy, some wept, and others shouted his glory like people gone mad. It was all an unimaginable sight, and there stood the Master looking at them all with great joy. Their uproar of joy roused us from our sleep. We rushed out and saw the devotees all round the Master, behaving like a group of lunatics, and he himself was looking at them graciously with a smiling face full of affection. When we reached there, the master's mind had returned to the human plane, but the devotees were still in their aesthetic mood, intoxicated with divine bliss. Later on, we learnt about the whole incident by asking the devotees. All of them acknowledged that the Master's touch had brought them wonderful spiritual realization, and that experience had lasted quite a long time. And why should not his touch be as effective as that? Was he not God himself? Even that day, the Master did not touch one or two, but said that they would have it later. From this, it is clear that nothing happens unless the time is ripe. One has to wait for the right moment. The devotee, Maharaj, he can surely turn people's mind Godwards by his mere wish and make their hearts pure. Why does he not do so? If his grace be contingent on one's spiritual effort, then how can one say that his mercy is without limit? Mahapurushji, yes, what you say is true. So, the point is, if can bestow his grace like this on one, why not on others? Mahapurushji says, true, I talk thus because it comes this way in speaking. In reality, God is not to be attained through any effort. Or, to be more correct, we cannot even assert that He is attainable at all, for He is the very self of everybody. He is the soul of all souls. Spiritual practices merely serve to remove the covering over the inner vision. And when they are removed, the soul knows its own reality and becomes one with the innermost self. It is precisely because He frees creatures from the bondage of ignorance that they become blessed with a longing to realize Him. This is His grace. But it is true that everything occurs according to some rule and order. To expect otherwise would be like the vain effort of trying to make a man of a child all of a sudden. It is through the gradual development of the body and mind that the child reaches and transcends the stages of boyhood, youth, manhood, and then becomes a real man. And then old age occurs. Similarly, the divine experiences come to a man in an order and by stages. The development that comes naturally is the right one, and its effect alone is good. It goes without saying that God can, of His own mercy, liberate all souls in the twinkle of an eye, for He is all powerful. As a matter of fact, however, He does not do so. He rules the whole world under the same law, and He hardly allows any exceptions to it unless there be some very special reason. At the same time, His mercy is unconditional. There is no doubt about that. Had you but the slightest idea of His infinite mercy and love for His creatures, the very question as to how in your mind would just vanish. He can be an infinite ocean of grace, could never have risen. This kind of a question. See, he says, had you had the slightest idea of His infinite mercy and love for His creatures, the very question as to how He can be an infinite ocean of grace could never have arisen in your mind. That He incarnates Himself out of compassion for His creatures is the greatest proof that His love is limitless. That shows that He is an infinite ocean of kindness. He is ever full of prana. He is nothing to find or seek, and yet, out of mercy, he engages himself in the task of saving creatures. He has only one mood, and that is mercy, love. Can anybody ever explain how merciful he is? It is a thing to be realized. The Master used to say, if a man but tries to proceed one step towards God, he comes nearer to him by 10 steps. Such is his mercy. Never have any doubt about his grace. Never allow even such a thought to cross your mind. Go on calling on him with love. His grace will make your heart and mind full. Can such a realization come in a day or all of a sudden? It will all come in time. You will get all this in due course. Even we could not have got any idea of how kind is God to us if we had not seen the Master. He would be all eager. He would shed tears to bestow his mercy on others. Who indeed craves for his mercy with all sincerity? Men are mad after worldly enjoyments. Anyone who earnestly wants divine joy surely gets it. So let us earnestly desire divine joy. And if we do so, we will surely get it. So we will today end our episode here itself. Hope you all enjoyed it. Do subscribe to our channel if you already haven't. Share and like our videos. Thank you very much for being with us. Namaskar.